located on Southwest 27th Avenue, right behind Best Buy in Ocala.
Call 861-0011.
Pick up and enjoy.
With Honey Baked Ham, every day's a celebration.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala!
All right, 9 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I really don't do much, really, like selling things on the internet, that kind of stuff. I mean, but this morning I got a disturbing email. It said that some fraudulent activity was suspected on my eBay accounts, and so they've deleted some stuff, and I need to go back and change my password. And I thought, well, how do I know that this email is correct? So then I went to, and anyway, long story short, it was correct. And I thought, gosh, they're even picking on me. I got nothing to offer. But this is the way of the world. Wasn't it just last week that we had all these hospitals that had this ransomware attacking them, right, and stuff like that? Horrible. So it is the way that we will attack one another, I suppose. And I don't know if that's good or bad or better. I don't know. But I know who knows, and he's written about it. Dale Brown is on the phone. He's been with us before. He's got a new novel. It's called Price of Duty. If you're a fan of, is it McClanahan? Am I saying the character's name right? Mm-hmm. Brad McClanahan. Yes, then you already know the whole series. Dale is a former United States Air Force captain and navigator bombardier in the B-52G Stratofortress heavy bomber and the FB-111A supersonic medium bomber, the recipient of several military decorations and awards, including the Air Force Commendation Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster, the Combat Crew Award, the Marksmanship Ribbon. Gosh, it goes on and on. What an honor to be able to say hello to Dale Brown. Good morning, Dale. Thank you for being on the air with us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah. My first question is really this. I saw the thing that launches the missiles in North Korea, and it was painted in camouflage. Is that necessary?
In a field.
No, not really. The mobile missiles obviously do need to be camouflaged because they set them, they move them, and they set them up. But the ones, if you have a missile in a silo like we use, you can paint them anything. You really want to keep the weight down, so maybe no paint be better. But yeah, if you're gonna have them mobile, yeah, probably painting them like rocks or something. They don't have very many trees, I guess, in North Korea, so probably better to paint them like rocks. Yeah, but
it was painted just like the trucks in Ocala when they want to go hunting for deer in the forest. So
yeah.
So tell me about the new story. Is this type of warfare that you write about in the book, the cyber warfare, is that a surprise to most people who have the military background like yourself?
Well, it's certainly different, but I think it's going to be the battlefield that we're going to have to contend with from now on. I started writing a Price of Duty about a year and a half ago, so my research may be a little bit dated. The capabilities and the power that a cyber war could be, I think, is even greater than what I portrayed in the book. We have to be ready for that. We have to start preparing ourselves, and it's not going to be flashy. It's not going to be like a bomber or like an aircraft carrier battle group. It's going to be in little darkened rooms with soldiers sitting behind computer keyboards and screens. But it's going to be every bit as destructive and every bit as important to prepare for as any World War II or any Cold War conflict.
Why would an opposing why would an enemy surrender if all you're doing is attacking them with computers?
Because so much of our infrastructure, especially the military infrastructure, is controlled by computers. So if you can remotely take over somebody's computer system, you've won the battle before it's ever been fought. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think the next big world conflict will be preceded by a cyber conflict, and that the big war, the big kinetic war, will be over before it's even fought if you can win it on the cyber battlefield and not just on the earth or on the oceans.
So the United States has to make sure that we're up for this. We need to keep arming ourselves this way, but make sure our allies are armed up to snuff just as much as we are.
Yes, absolutely. Because if they can get at the United States by going through some of our allies in Eastern Europe that aren't ready for it, I think that's a major vulnerability. So we have just like we do with providing our allies the latest fighters and the latest ships, we need to provide our allies with the very latest cyber warfare capabilities and make sure that they maintain them, make sure they're trained, do frequent exercises with them, but we do it on a completely different level than actually sending over ships and planes. We need to do exercises in the cyber world.
And somebody with your background who also can think up scenarios and write a story about it, in a way, you're still protecting our nation by writing these stories because the Pentagon may not have enough time to think about what could happen. So you're doing it on their, so they can see, hey, this is possible.
Well, I hope that some leaders, some politicians and generals do read my book and get a little inspiration from it. Now they've got a lot of very smart people working for them, but I think you're right. I think they're not really looking at the fictional world. They look at my books and I hope they don't, but they're probably reading my books and thinking, this is just fiction. This can't happen. And then all of a sudden, something does happen.
Well, if I wrote it, it would be fiction. You can just forget about it. But in your case, I mean, you've studied this, you've lived in this, so you can sort of think strategically the way you have to think if you're trying to deal with an enemy.
Well, I hope so. I love doing the research for this. For these books, I usually write about bombers and fighters and things like that. But now that I've dived into the cyber world, it's a fascinating area. I really want to share with my readers, and I want to stay up with it as much as I can. After 9/11, it's always been more difficult to do research on the military. The military units I'd like to talk to are deployed or they're getting ready for deployment, so it's more difficult. And then you talk about the cyber world, and it's even more spooky and dark than even the Air Force or the bomber forces. So it's a challenge, but I'm having a blast doing it, and I really want to share this whole world with my readers.
If you're familiar with Dale Brown's work, he regularly gets 5-star ratings on Amazon. I'm looking at this one. It's one that's getting some really good numbers on here. I have a copy of the book, though. It's a hardcover copy of Dale's new book called Price of Duty. If you want this one, call me. I only have one, so I can give it away to one of you. The rest of us have to go buy it. Dale, I already mentioned Amazon. Do you sell it on your own website?
No, not yet, but it's available everywhere else online and in the bookstores. Okay. I hope people pick it up.
All right, well, let me give this one away. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Thank you. This is Judy. I'm getting it for Marshall. Thank you so much.
It'll be waiting for you. Thank you, Judy. Dale, thank you for coming on the air with us today. And the bigger thank you is for writing this, because it's not just entertainment. I think you're preparing us for what could be and showing us the real danger of some of these... you hear about cyber attacks, but you think, well, what is it? It's just somebody messing with your computer, but it could be deadly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I do love the binary codes on the cover with the image of the Kremlin and the U.S. flag. I think it's very, very apropos.
Good cover, yeah. You can tell a book by its cover in some cases. Thank you, Dale. That was excellent. This is WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pam Puso.
Freedom, compassion, and peace will always prevail
over violence and hate.
House Speaker Paul Ryan reacting to the bombing in Manchester, England that killed 22 people.
A fast-moving police inquiry underway here. A controlled explosion carried out during one raid. At another address, a 23-year-old man has been arrested.
Fox's Simon Owen. ISIS is taking credit, something National Intelligence Director Dan Coates hasn't confirmed. Coates also refusing to comment on a Washington Post story that claims President Trump asked him to deny any collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians.
I don't feel it's appropriate to characterize discussions and conversations with the president.
The DNI chief testifying before a Senate committee. New home sales hit the skids last month. The government says they saw their biggest drop in more than 2 years. Fox News, we report, you decide.
My number 2 does not look like a number 2. I don't know what to call it. Is there a number 3?
Table for 4, please. Anything close to the restroom.
A middle seat with these stomach problems? That's my fear of flying.
Sound like you? If it does, you could be one of the many people with a digestive